On this thing. Hello, everybody. Yo, my hair is in shambles right now. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Pedro and Hannibal YouTube channel where we talk about a whole bunch of random stuff. How you doing,
We
Pedro?
do. I'm
That was a great intro. I think I did
that
just
was
now.
pretty good. My hair looks crazy too. Listen, we do talk about stuff. I'm good, man. Just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
Tired,
Tell
but
me about it. What you
I'm
did?
ready.
Where'd you go?
Man, I did what? Oh man, how do I sum up my last
You
five,
texted me.
six
You
days?
had a you was in a text group and you said you was on a yacht or you was on a boat with some.
What did I say?
Uh,
What did I say? Tell them. Tell them.
you
Tell them.
you
Tell
said you said yo guys, I'm on a boat with some hoes. And I was like,
them.
you gardening out in the water? Like what's going on? I think I called you a nerd. So yeah, tell me about
I
your
did.
boating.
I did. Listen, I was on a boat with some. Oh, no, I wasn't, but it was funny. So yeah, my Madison has family up in northern Michigan, Bel Air to be specific, and we go up there and we do what a lot of like, mm, how I say this, hmm. We do what a lot of like people that in Michigan do. We do the whole boating and the swimming and the
Okay,
surf, like just stuff like
but you
that.
can
But
swim, so that's
yeah,
ideal for people who
I can,
can swim.
I can.
Unlike
Everybody that
people,
was up there looks exactly the same. Like, everybody looks the same. Like everybody looks the same. But
mm,
it was fun, man.
were
It
they
was a good time.
nice, like
Absolutely.
friendly
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
That's what you need, with some
That's what you need.
friendly
You need
friendly
friendly people
folks.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good. Drink way too
Oh,
many beers. Just 4th of July weekend. You know what I mean?
shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you light any fireworks?
No, I don't do that. No, it's not
No.
my thing. No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, I would tell you it used to be my thing. Like 4th of July for me was great. Grilling, hanging out with some friends and family at the house. Didn't go out. Have access to the roof on the apartment building, so you
Mm-hmm.
just go on the roof and you just see all the fireworks, people lighting all types of fireworks. I used to love having my own explosives. I used to love it back
Really?
in the day. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I know I had eyebrow ring and tongue ring, but at one point I loved fireworks.
uh,
And back in the 90s, before Giuliani, the mayor Giuliani came in and shut everything down in
mhm.
Chinatown, where my father would go all the way to Chinatown and spend hundreds of dollars on fireworks,
Dude,
bring
it's
like
expensive,
tons
man.
of bags,
God.
and we would have so many that some years we didn't even buy because it was just so much. We left it for like it was in the closet till next year.
Mhm.
And I would walk around these M80s, these like YE Coyote type explosives, and never blew up any of my fingers. Like all my fingers are fine.
Yeah. What's
But
that? Jason Pierre-Paul from the Giants. He's like,
yes, it blew
yeah.
like several fingers off,
And
and
then
then
he came
he's
back and still played, which is amazing.
when you are an athlete and as huge and as powerful as he is, I guess you don't
Yeah.
need hands
I
or
guess you don't need
fingers.
all your fingers.
He had
Yeah,
just
like a
I think he had like a
club.
special
He's
yeah,
just
he had a club.
clubbing people. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think did he win a championship? I think he may have won
He
already.
did with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, bastard.
Hmm. Hmm.
But what happened in the year 2020, where everyone had their stimmy checks and their fraudulent PPP checks, and
Hmm.
all they did was buy fireworks.
Hmm.
So that probably 4 or 5 months of that year, it was like you outside was like Iraq, exploding like
Really?
Gettysburg, all day, all night. It was
And you
so
already
up.
have that in Brooklyn with the gunshots. Like I have it
Oh,
in St.
exact.
Louis
You can't
too. So
tell.
sometimes it's hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. Sometimes you can tell. Sometimes you're like, yeah, that's not fireworks.
Yeah.
And it got so obnoxious. I can't stand fireworks now. Like it's so annoying. Maybe a few years I'll get over it. And also, it's really difficult to buy fireworks here now. You have to leave the state, do it in a time where you're not getting stopped when you cross back
Yeah.
to the other to our side. But yeah, I used to love fireworks, man. It was
See,
amazing.
I
Just
like. I don't mind looking at them, but I'm not somebody that like enjoys or really needs to like light them up and do. But I enjoy looking at them. Like we had people in where we were at, two or three like houses down. They were doing some, and we looked at them for a little while. Nothing spectacular, but it was nice. But I don't like. Yeah, I don't. I never was somebody that like bought a lot of fireworks and did them.
yeah,
And in St. Louis, I guess similar to NYC, you can't buy them in St. Louis City. You got to go to
right.
like Jefferson County, which is just 20 minutes from here, and you can buy them there. But like they're super expensive, man. The good ones are very pricey.
Yeah, and also think about that because I was talking to a friend yesterday about it. I'm like, raising your kids, right, and protecting them, and having boundaries. Like my father would like give me like a bunch of fireworks. They go outside, and we'll light them, and we could have blown off our fingers. There's times where I lit a firecracker and the fuse was too short, and it popped in my hand, and it didn't hurt, but it didn't blow anything off. Like certain goofy things like that. But my son is he'll be 10. Well, obviously next year he'll be 10, so he's 9.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't ever think of giving him, hey, here's his M80. Have a good time. Like,
Neither would I. Yeah.
We're pussies now, I guess.
Man, well, listen, the world is becoming that for sure in a lot of different ways. So I'm not surprised. But think about it, growing up in the 80s, early 90s. Yeah, man. As kids, our parents let us do all kinds of stuff. Like, the whole thing about like, hey, just come home when the street lights come on.
Yeah,
Parents do not tell their kids to do that. I stayed outside all the time when I was growing up.
Right.
And, I grew up in parts of Chicago and parts of St. Louis that weren't great, but like I was just outside, just hanging out, right?
Yeah.
Doing whatever. But yeah, kids don't do that nowadays anymore.
Yeah, even the construction of the playgrounds are different compared to how they were before, where you can probably go 30 feet up in the air on some kind of apparatus, but now that they redone one near my house, and everything is like 3 feet. Like everything is super
and it's
low.
Safe. They got like the safety like mats and the refurbished tires, and you land on it, and they used to have the old slides that were straight metal, so at summertime that shit was like 150 degrees sliding down. Everything's nice and plastic, a bunch of pussies.
It's over, right? So what you do? That's what that back in my day, and then kids like don't want to hear that at all. But yeah, glad that you enjoyed yourself. I had a good time too. Ate a good amount. Wasn't hungover. Every night of drinking, no hangover. Probably because I was eating so much food, which good. I hate hangovers. They're the absolute worst.
They're the worst, man. No, but we ate good, so I didn't have any of that anymore. But when you listen, when you like to have a adult beverage every once in a while, like you and I do, we get older, we get to understand what you need to do not to have a hangover. And I've gotten good at that. So I don't do those anymore.
The end of my night yesterday was at 12, 11. Like that's how old I've become. So it was like 11:30, 12. I was like, man, I'm tired. So I'm gonna I'm gonna go to sleep.
I went to sleep. So Michigan's on Eastern time, right? So I went to sleep at 12:30. Woke up at 4:45 and then drove 8.5 hours to get here. Get that hour back. So I'm just like, I can't miss a Wednesday with my band handle. I can't do it.
Well, I appreciate that because it's been a minute. There's a lot of stuff is going on in the last week or so. Like ESPN, a bunch of people got fired. I'll be honest,
the ones
they've noticed, all the was it Jalen Rose, Jeff Van Gundy? That's probably the biggest surprise. The rest,
Kellerman, didn't Max Kellerman get let go too?
I'm not a big surprise on that one, but yeah, he left. A lot of big names left.
Big names.
But yeah, Jalen Rose. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Jalen Rose fan as a commentator. I thought he was okay. I think
so.
I think a lot of it was based on
have Jacoby and Jalen, or Jalen and Jacoby.
Yeah, that's over. Yeah, that's done. Yeah, that's all done. The Jeff Van Gundy was a little weird. But Stephen A. is still there.
He is. I don't know if you saw the response Stephen A. had. I saw it on YouTube of Stephen A.'s responding to his colleagues being let go, and a lot of them. And he talks about what I saw. He talks about the, basically budget cuts. That's what it, and
that's what it is. Yeah, some of them were getting paid a little bit too much, and also I think it's just the value isn't there anymore. People rather watch YouTube videos about, like smaller productions. You don't need to give someone a boatload of money unless they're Stephen A. or I would say Shannon Sharp or even Skip Bayless. I know people don't like him. But there's only a very few people who deserve that kind of money now. You don't need to give every pro athlete that wants to talk about sports a bunch of money anymore. They better be really talented. They got to be a Pat McAfee. You can't just jump in and like, well, you played and we like you. But but they kept Kendrick, they kept Richard Jefferson. So there's a few, and I would say those are probably more of a personality than Jalen Rose is. Even Kendrick Perkins being terrible with his takes. There's a personality there compared to Jalen. Jalen was, I'm not saying he's bad, but I loved what he did with Skip Bayless a couple years ago. I mean, that was amazing.
I think they kind of skyrocketed his fame on ESPN, right? It took him from just being an Michigan Wolverines basketball player to NBA player to like a columnist and somebody that's not afraid to speak his mind, and I think that kind of helped him.
Right.
But yeah, they shed a lot of dollars, man. That's for sure by letting those people go.
Everyone is doing it. I mean, all these companies are doing it. So unless you're an NBA player getting that big fat checks that's been passed around since their free agency is open, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with it. And I think most of those personnels will find other jobs or Fox Sports, or maybe they'll do their own thing. But I didn't watch any of the summer league stuff. Did you get a chance? I know it
No,
happened. It started the third. I think
I've
some
watched
some games that happened
zero.
today. Yeah,
I've
I
watched
seen that.
zero. No.
I don't know if Wemby played. I gotta check that. I know Chet Holmgren looks pretty good. I saw some highlights of him blocking some shots. He is 8 foot tall. He's not 8 foot,
Yeah,
but
he's
he's
crazy.
pretty damn tall.
It's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
he was doing some defense. I saw that. What's what do you call it? One of his teammates said Chet is going to win the Rookie of the Year. He said,
Yeah, he's back.
"That's
Yeah.
my boy." So what do you think? Is there even a chance Chet will win Rookie
Yeah.
of the
Oh
Year
no,
over
there's
Wemby?
absolutely a chance. There's
Yeah.
absolutely a chance because I
I-
think that Chet he's played in college. Obviously, he played in Gonzaga. He got hurt, but he was a little older than Victor, right? So I think there's definitely a chance. I think Victor has a lot of pressure on him. He's going to
Yeah.
play a lot. He should. They both will. But I think Chet, you know, before he got hurt, he was having some good games back in last year before when he was in I guess the summer league or the preseason, whatever, before the
Yeah.
season started. So yeah, I could definitely see that. I could see it going either way. I don't necessarily think Victor has to be the rookie of the year for him to like live up to the hype. He could just be a solid year. But Chet, he can play. He can shoot. He can
Yeah.
defend. So I think in some ways their game's kind of similar, right? Victor's just kind of like, I think he's a little taller, right? But
Yeah.
Chet still, I mean, it's going to be interesting. But I haven't seen any of the preseason or G League or none of that stuff.
Yeah. Barring injuries, I still think Victor's going to probably win it. Thunder they have a good amount of players. I mean, they got SGA in
They do.
there. They have some. So they wouldn't, usually if you're on a really bad team and you're rookie and you just have some good, you scoring over 20 points, you blocking a few shots, they're probably going to give it to the Victor kid. But Chet, hopefully he plays well. I know he came in with a lot of confidence and everything, and I don't know if he slipped on a banana peel. Like what? I forgot what happened. He just slipped on.
Remember. I don't
something.
know. He did like a Kevin Durant in the warm ups. He just kind of like blew out whatever just by being tall, lanky, and skinny. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
weird. Yeah.
I forgot to tell everybody. I forgot to say hi to everyone in the chat. Hello, everybody. Making sure that I'm checking out what you guys are saying. Steve says if you're 8 foot tall and don't play basketball, you're just dumb. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Hey, Steve, you agree?
I do. Yeah.
Listen,
if you're that tall,
you can't
and
run,
you're a
bro.
kid at some point. Yeah, you can't. I mean,
most of them. When you're that weirdly big, you have no mobility.
True.
And that's why they some. But like when you hit like 7'5", 7'6", 7'7", you look weird, man.
Well, let me ask you a question. So this was asked of us at the weekend this week with the family. We asked questions, and this family plays a lot of games. It's always a good time, right? But they ask questions, and people talk about it, which is cool. Somebody posed a question to the group: would you rather be 3 feet tall or 10 feet tall? Now, I'll tell you what I answered, but I'd like to know your answer: 3 feet or 10 feet?
Jesus, it's all bad. Like none of them are good.
It is
all bad.
That's why it's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. Damn. I'm gonna go with 3 feet tall.
That's what I went with.
Because
nobody's ever been 10 feet tall.
Yeah, you're not gonna go anywhere. You can't sit anywhere. You're not 3 feet.
Can't drive. You can't do anything.
We've all been 3 feet tall at one point in our lives.
True.
So if I beat that was that little guy at UFC to keep. I don't know if he's a brand ambassador, he's an influencer. He's like, I forgot his name. He's small little dude.
Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd rather be him than some 10-foot giant. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't. Our society doesn't function when you're that big. So even 7 feet tall dudes, like the stuff they got to do with the NBA players, got what cars they can drive, what kind of seats they have. They're usually it's always something wrong with their feet, something wrong with their ankles, something wrong with their legs, because you're not supposed to be that fucking big. But Yeah, I'll be 3 feet. I mean, 10 feet, then you just like a big goofy giraffe.
I'll be
Everyone's
three.
looking at
I'll be
you.
a three. I'll be a short king. It's fine. 3 feet's fine.
Yeah,
It's good.
and
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna be difficult to find a mate no matter what.
true.
Because, but 3 feet, may find some weirdos out there. That'd
Probably.
be
We're all weird.
it. Actually, this I forgot. I had a little NBA question. Hopefully, I posted. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna give this question to Pedro because he likes to tell people that he's really good at basketball.
Oh
That
Lord,
his
here we go.
J is wet and
Listen,
he
okay,
got
you listen, listen. If
crossovers.
you're gonna
If he
talk
was taller,
shit,
he would have made it.
if you're gonna talk shit, you're gonna have to wait because my girlfriend videoed me. We were at a local place in Michigan that had a basketball hoop, like
Okay.
a little arcade spot. I was like, I gotta go get some quarters.
Okay.
Did my thing. I mean, high score went right up there. High score right
Okay.
off the rip.
Okay.
So
All right.
I mean, I'll wait for that. I'll
Well,
put
we're
that
gonna throw.
video. I'll put that little short video on this channel. So you guys can
You
see it.
should, so we can
I
see
will.
you see how wet your jumper is. But let's see this question real quick right here. Okay, so would you rather get $1 million up front or a chance at 20 million if you can score 15 points in an NBA game? You get to play
Oh,
48. What would you do?
$1 million. I can't score 15 points in
I
NBA.
thought,
This is not even. I'll tell you this right now. I won't be able to score 2 points unless I get fouled and maybe hit 2 free throws. I'm not scoring a point, so I'll take the
really?
million. Oh,
You could no,
dude, bro.
you're not a
15
jump.
points in an NBA game? No way. No, the average human being cannot do that. There are guys in the NBA that can't score 15
I'm
points.
sure there's so many men out there
If it said
that
one
would be like,
point,
yo, I
if
could
it's
do it.
no, there are, but they're idiots. They're absolute idiots. I'll take the million. I mean, that's crazy. Now, if it said 1 point, I think that's a little different, but still, you got to at least get the ball and not have it stolen. You have to be able to dribble against guys that are huge and they're athletes, and you got to get fouled because you're not scoring a basket. You're just
Right,
not.
right, right.
Not the average person. I'll take the $1 million.
Fair enough, fair enough. I thought you would have more like
No,
confidence. Like, yeah, I got
bro, I got negative 10% confidence
it.
scoring 15 points in an NBA game. There's no way. I wouldn't be able to play 48 minutes. There's no way. I'd be gassed.
Yeah, you'll probably like pass out
I'd
in the
be
first
gassed.
like 2-3 minutes. Like, yo, really? We still running? What's going on? Yo, sub me out, coach. Let me get some garbage time. Even garbage time. The problem is then the other team, their bench players, they're playing for real, and they're gonna still
good.
yeah.
The guy there's guys in this league that are drafted and they don't play or they only play in the garbage time, right? Those guys will go to any YMCA, any men's rec league, any playground, and absolutely dominate. So if you think you're scoring 15 points in the NBA game, you're tripping. You're crazy.
Well, the same thing about fighting. Like,
Yes.
if you had a chance to fight, a knockout, who could you do? You could fight a bear. There's people out there. There are people who believe they can fight a bear and beat a bear.
Nobody can fight a bear. Not any human being on this world can fight a bear and win. Now, there's not one human being, the biggest UFC guy can't fight a bear and win. It's impossible. No way.
It's ridiculous. All right, so Pedro, if you was 8 feet tall, would you be able to get 15 points?
Oh, that's different. Yes, but I'm not. But yes, I would. If I'm 8 feet tall and I'm in good health, like my knee, I would go for the 15 for the.
But maybe if the rim was like a little shorter, perhaps. I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen this league? I saw some videos on Instagram. A league where the rim is 8 feet, 8.5 feet.
No,
and let me show you. I saw this is an old video, but I saw this on. I don't think we need a sound.
Have you ever wanted to do this?
How many points do you think you score in this league?
Everyone's
just dunking.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to be the guy that's dunking out the gym. I'm a shooter. So maybe not that much because you're shooting.
It's an all-star game, three-point contest.
Yeah, we see like this is kind of cool. I think I saw some videos. Everyone's mad hype. It was like, yo, that means everyone can dunk the way you see your own dunk, and everyone's doing like LeBron type of like tomahawk stuff. Like, I actually want to play. I mean, again, I'm not a great basketball player.
The chance to feel like they're
but that looks like fun.
Yeah, but like
growing
up, you have that friend that would have the hoop and you can adjust the height. I've done the slam dunk contest when I was growing up when the height's at whatever height, and you could adjust it as you get older. But yeah, the shooting is always weird because when you play enough and you're playing at 10 feet to go down to 8.5, it's a little bit of adjustment, but that would be fun. It looks fun.
Right. Yeah. Before we finish on, so any free agency thing that you want to talk about? Like Kyrie Irving is going back to the Mavericks. LaMelo
Yeah,
Ball got his money.
yeah.
Uh,
I saw a post. Lamelo, Tyrese Halliburton, I believe, um, Anthony Edwards, and Desmond Bain.
yes,
So
yeah,
they're all in the same draft class, right? They've all been in the league a few years, 3, 4 years, something like that.
yeah.
And their combined contracts is over $1 billion for those four guys. And I think that none of those guys at this point are worth the money they got. I think it's crazy, but I'm happy for them. But the money is nuts. I'll say that. The second
Yeah.
part is I saw Russell Westbrook is getting $8 million for 2 years.
Big haircut.
That's yeah. I mean,
You think that's underpaid?
Absolutely. I think it's vastly underpaid if you compare it to some other guys. Now I know he's older, he can't shoot anymore really, but he's still high energy. He still had a good year after he got traded from the Lakers.
Yeah,
Went to the Clippers. He was balling out. He's doing good, right? So, I mean, that to me, I'm surprised he signed that contract. That's what stands out to me from what I've seen so far.
it's possible that it's just the narrative that he's difficult to deal with, and like the shot issue and that may have been the only team interested because they did want him, and he probably went with someone who wanted him. Like most were kind of avoiding him, so I understand that. In terms of like the big contracts, I think LaMelo Ball has the potential, like of all of them, to really do something special. He is kind of a walking triple double at points. I mean, unfortunately, Lonzo.
Okay. Good night.
Ruby June had to.
Ruby June's got to say goodnight. Yeah,
she got to say goodnight. It's all good. But I do believe that LaMelo Ball could I mean, Charlie Hornets had nobody. Like, he is their guy. No one wants to go there for some reason. So I think he'll probably make it.
I think you're right. I think that one's valid. But Anthony Edwards is a good player. These guys are all good players. But it's just to see four guys, I mean, $1 billion contracts. I mean, it's crazy, man. The money's getting nuts. And Russell should be worth more than $8 million for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's just the way I guess that narrative is like, you can't win with him, but maybe he'll show out. I mean, he went back to the Clippers. We'll see what happened with the Clippers, man.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing of the NBA that, like, my Knicks team there, there's a lot of rumors. It's like they're trying to do this, trying to do that. Damian Lillard only wants to go to Miami, so I guess that's not going to happen in the Knicks anyway. So
I see James Harden I see 4 teams listed for James Harden, and the Knicks were one of them.
He won't survive well in New York.
No, I think Dame's got it. Dame's going to go. He's going to Miami, man. But I think it'd be interesting to see him in New York. I think it would.
How would he even make the deal to keep? So he wants to go to Miami. So Butler's going to stay, and Tyler Hero's going to stay. So everyone else is gone. Like,
well, what I saw was Tyler Hero would be gone.
Oh,
Kyle Lowry. So obviously some draft picks, and then there was somebody else in that team. Maybe another player. 3 players and like 2 or 3 draft picks. That would be interesting. But I mean, that makes that team better. Dame and Jimmy Butler. That's a dynamic duo. And Bam Adebayo. That's a big 3 right there.
Yeah, I guess you rather keep Bam than Tyler Hero, so that doesn't make sense. We'll see, man. We'll see. So let's just jump into the weird thing about the whole Drake thing. So
let's go.
I know, Pedro is not a big fan of Drake in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, well, you're the one making the topics tonight. You're bringing this to me, so obviously you're not a huge fan, or you just want to see what I got to say. Either way,
it's a little weird, and it kind of comes a little bit full circle to another topic as well, where and I'll just throw it out right now that Ice-T and KRS-One, pioneers of hip hop. Apparently, hip hop is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Didn't even know that. Been a long, long time, and they're saying that things are kind of going in the wrong direction. Both rappers expressed concern about the current state of hip hop. KRS-One says that the genre is shift for making us prioritizing money over messaging, which I guess, I don't know, in my opinion, that probably happened a long time ago. And Ice-T points out the regression in the purpose behind the music, with themes of drug use and violence and incarceration, where he's saying to take that control back and bring the essence of hip hop. He's saying the purpose of rapping was to escape the streets, not glorify negative behavior.
Interesting.
So before we talk about how weird Drake is, maybe that it falls into this conversation. Ice-T, I listen to a lot of Ice-T.
Mm-hmm.
It was glorifying. He was
I mean,
glorifying what he did.
KRS-One not so much, but Ice-T.
No, KRS-One,
yeah.
So why is it? Because again, you get older, and then you start to think of what you said and what you did when you're younger probably wasn't a great idea. Now you're seeing how young guys doing something, and then you kind of have a different frame of reference of what you did. Like, okay, so Ice-T is saying that we shouldn't be glorifying violence. Well, I listened to all your 6 in the morning. I don't know if you're telling us to stop. You were just like, and there was some little messaging of, this is where you can go if you get in this situation. You can go wrong way. But I don't know. Homeboy was glorifying what he was doing. I don't know.
I mean, I think you could look at it that way. You could also look at it. He was talking about his environment, right? He was just giving the world the pulse of the streets and the hoods and the projects, right? So, but definitely, I think it's. I don't think they're wrong. But this isn't anything new, right? This has been happening in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. Hip hop does glorify a lifestyle and a culture. That's what hip hop is about,
right?
But yeah, in the beginning stages when these guys were coming up, it was a little different, right? But I think a lot of these guys have that, and we have it a little bit here. I know I do. It's like the old man, like, get off my lawn. I don't like how things are changing. Yep. This is, I think they have that, and they see these young guys now making all this money, and it's a little like, ooh, man, like I didn't achieve that kind of level of money, at least not from just hip hop, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ice-T is good. He's
Ice-T's good. Ice-T's good. I'm sure KRS-One's good, but not as good, right?
No.
But I think they have some valid points. But I mean, hip hop, I do think at some point, right, things come full circle, whether it's with fashion or music, sometimes various things. So I could see, especially with the way the world is, it's crazy, right? I could see us getting back to a point of more thought-provoking hip hop that is also popular, right? Like Ice-T and KRS-One was. They're legends. Right now, it's very, who's popular is typically very just shock and awe and this and that and guns and trap music, the trill music, all this stuff, right? That's very popular right now. But I could see it going back the other way at some point. And I don't think it would be that long. I think we'll still be around if and when it does. But it'll be interesting to see like how that is perceived and if it's well received or not. So,
yeah, I understand. And their thoughts, or at least what they're saying, makes sense. But the themes were always around, and I will say the younger generation are talking about what's in their environment. Now, some are probably lying, and some are probably exaggerating. I definitely, like, the more ridiculous you are, the more clout or whatever you get. But this has always been an issue. I think it's just the quality of the music. It's too repetitive. There is no individual style as much as it was back in the day. Everyone does the same thing. Everyone looks the same. Everyone sounds the same. Now, again, this may have already happened before. I don't remember it being this obvious in the 90s, even in the 2000s. That's why I think the reason why there hasn't been a number one rap album, number one hit in last. If Kendrick and J. Cole or Nas or like maybe 5 rappers, if they're not releasing anything, apparently we got nothing. Right? And the other ones who are talented, who are releasing, aren't famous enough or popular enough to have a number one song on an album. So if the big guns aren't here, we're left with whatever that you hear on the radio. And it's just not that the quality is not there. So
well, but is it the audience is dictating what they want to listen to?
That is true,
right? So it's like the rappers giving the people what they want, because guys like you and I, we're going to listen to the new. Let's say if Outkast drops it out tomorrow, me and Hannibal are taking the day off. We're going to listen to it.
Absolutely.
It's good. We're going to listen to it again and again, right? If J. Cole drops, and I think he's got something coming up soon, I'm going to listen to that. Right? If Nas, he's been dropping albums like every year. I'd listen to that if he drops one, right? But what's mainstream, like super, super, super popular right now, I don't listen to it. I go to Apple Music. I'm like, okay, let me go to hip hop. I'm like, I ain't never heard of this guy before, right? And I listen, and I like some of it, and some of it's like, not my thing, right? So I think the artists are they're following the money, they're following the trends. Hip hop does that, music does that, but it's so kind of watered down, right? A lot of it
Yeah.
overall, and it's also
Yeah.
very just similar, very cookie cutter. This is a
Right.
way, this is a look.
Safe.
Follow this. Yep, join this label. We'll give you this. But it's very safe. Whereas back in the day, these hip hop artists took risks. They said
Right.
things that weren't popular. They took a risk, and there was even in the '90s and early 2000s, you had a lot of different guys. You had a Jay-Z and a DMX and a Nas, Big Pun, all out at the same time, all very different.
Right.
In their approach, in their style, in their in the clothes they would wear, like all these things, it's very different. And now it's not so much. They all look the same, you know.
You know, Hollywood is dealing with this too. I don't know if you checked out a lot of the movies, the new movies that have been coming out. All of them are like panned. They're bad. They're losing money. And the new Indiana Jones apparently it's god awful.
I saw a poster for. I didn't even know there was a new Indiana. I'm like, why? What's happening here? Like,
he's super old, but he becomes like a sidekick of his own movie. The woman that's there basically starts being like the badass, while he's just a miserable old guy that he's just a beat up shell of a man. Like, I don't think that's what people wanted to check out when they want to go and see Indiana Jones movie.
no.
So I'm thinking Hollywood, the movies are not hitting. I don't know if TV shows. I couldn't tell you last time I watched a TV show. I think art has gone a little stale. But going back to the question of what they're saying, Ice-T and KRS-One saying they need to bring back the original essence of hip hop. What does that mean to you when someone says something like that? Flowery language,
the original essence is what the elements of it, right? Breakdancing, rapping, DJing, graffiti, whatever else the other one is. Those are the things that come in my head when I think of the original hip hop, right?
Right.
Culture. I don't think we need to go back to those days. I don't think we're having guys starting breakdancing and graffitiing in that type of way. I just don't see that happening. It just don't see it. If I saw a whole bunch of dudes breakdancing on the street corner, I'd be like, that's fucking odd. Like it'd be weird. But back in the day, it was not. It was cool, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's it necessarily, but I think it's more just about the message, what they're rapping about. I think that I could see being something that we need a little bit, especially nowadays. The world's crazy, right?
Right.
Not that it wasn't crazy then, but just more crazy now. We know more about the world. Technology has exploded. We got the AI stuff now, right? If anything, people that come from the communities that we're rapping about have even less now than they did back then. And the richer have gotten richer. So I think I'd like to have that kind of hip hop come back, but I don't know if we need all the elements and all that kind of stuff. Well,
Ice-T said something that was pretty profound. He was like, when hip hop first came out, it was basically panned as a fad. Like, this is interesting, but it won't go anywhere. And now you're right. Like, it has produced billionaires, right? It is able to flourish despite the challenges, obviously, with some of the themes that's mentioned in most hip hop songs. But in terms of the new generation of hip hop artists, I think we have some really talented guys.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that the machine pushes, the ones that it's going to be maybe a lot of the goofballs, the ones that there is not much of a message there. But what do you think the future holds for hip hop? What do you think is going to happen in the next, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 years?
20 years from now, hip hop will be very, 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 very different than it even is now, right? I think you have what's happened in the last 10, 15 years. You have this even fusion of hip hop and pop, hip hop and country. A lot of country artists have this very hip hop poppy swang to them, and they're rapping a little bit and they're singing, but there's banjo behind them, which is cool, right? But it's going like we're merging this stuff because culturally we've merged in America. Like people are just more similar than we are different. I think, right?
Yeah,
and we think we're different, but we're really not, right? So I think hip hop's going to be real different in 20 years. Like, almost to the point, and you've mentioned this and you brought it to my attention, like the AI stuff, right? And being able to make music without having to do much, I think it's going to be a trend, unfortunately. Right. And I can see it really affecting hip hop for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's always going to be there. I mean, it's for it to make it 50 years. that means it's here
Well,
to stay. It's
impressive.
highly unlikely.
Yeah, because back then hip hop was not taken seriously. It took us so many years just to even get a Grammy category, right?
So to be on TV instead of on a commercial break.
Exactly, right. And now it's not only on BET or Soul Train or whatever. It's everywhere, right? So I think that's a great thing for hip hop, but I think it'll look very different in 20 years.
Definitely. So another hip hop concern, I guess it's not hip hop, but actually I would still consider it as hip hop, but it's more of like R&B kind of thing. But so Janelle Monáe, I think I've established that, or at least we both established we would kill for her, right?
Bro, I saw a TikTok of her doing something, and I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes,
and I looked at that TikTok for probably 20 minutes.
You saw it was you was at the 10th season watching that, right?
I mean, that's some,
okay. So I am talking about that, and I couldn't find to put it on, and I don't know if that's even allowed to be on YouTube, but
who knows? Yeah, I mean,
so India Ari was given some criticism to Janae and Megan for their raunchy. She called it raunchy performance, and it was, I guess, Essence Fest. The video's a festival. It's always every year. I forgot where it is, but it's a twerk dance competition. Megan's encouraging people to shake that butt. Whatever. Monet is cheering on. Then Monet basically pulls out her titty.
Oh, so we did see it. We saw a different video.
There's one. There's another. I don't know if she did an Essence Fest, but she lifted up her shirt and she had a pasty covering her nipple.
Yeah.
Which is, I would say, a little odd because Janelle Monáe never really. She dressed, I would say conservative, but she had like a style.
It does seem like she's going
right
different route, right? A little bit, right? Yeah.
So Irie has expressed her disapproval of the performance, saying that not everything belongs on the stage and it could misrepresent the culture to the broader audience. And she thinks that people need more discretion and discernment. And if you listen to the India Ari song and her style, her brand, you could tell obviously she would not be that. India Ari would never do anything like this.
No.
But when you think about her, which is, that's usually you don't want to be going right after your, I'm gonna call it contemporaries, but they're all artists. That she said, okay, this is enough is enough. Megan will always shake her ass no matter what's going on. Her ass is gonna be shaking somewhere. Is there a breaking point? Like, hey, we're going too far with this, or F it is what it is, and sex sells, and
maybe India Ari feels upset about it, or feels like she needs to say something because she looked at Janae a little differently and she's like a little hurt about it. Like, wow, what? She's doing it now? Like,
that's a good point.
I think that that's how she's looking at it. And maybe Janae, she's kind of like, well, I'm a woman, I'm gonna do what I want, I feel good, empowerment, free the titties, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. Like maybe she's like on that end, which it's fine, right? But I think maybe she's more like just like surprised and just like what happened? Like you weren't doing this when you came out. Right,
yeah,
so I'm good with India Ari saying something. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong.
It's a little weird, but actually, I found a little bit of it. So let me show you.
Let's play
it. I don't think you don't see titties. I don't think. But let's see. I think we don't need a sound for this. I think they'll play it. So this is a twerking competition that Megan did.
That's crazy.
I was like, all right, whatever. It's so normal now. It's not even that big a deal. Yeah, Janae's all into it. And then I think this is where it is. Oh, they covered it. Okay. But you see her is a pasty that's covering the nipple part.
So she planned that.
Yes. Oh yeah. There was
as a woman, right? You're not wearing a pasty just to wear a pasty. Like that's you're doing that on purpose. Yeah.
And we have noticed the last couple of videos, or at least pictures that we've shown here, that she is showing more of her more risque. Like, and hopefully she's okay. Like, as much as I like seeing naked women, it's a little weird to get older. Like, well, I'm gonna just not wear clothes. Usually, I'm young, I'm gonna not wear clothes, and get older, I'm like, okay, let me get more conservative with myself. So hopefully, she's okay. I don't know. That just
when I see that, what I first think of is because you mentioned her, I hope she's okay, right? And like maybe she had a bad breakup. Maybe she's going through some things.
I mean, she looks great, like physically.
She looks great, but what I'm saying is, sometimes when you have a bad breakup or you go through something, people do that. They
right.
start, you know, you're a woman, you go through a bad breakup. All right, I'm going out with my girls. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna get my fitness back in line. I'm gonna do things to make myself feel better. I'm gonna, you know, maybe she's going through that. You know, we don't know. I don't know.
Yep. Do you agree with India Ari's view that not everything belongs on the stage?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I think overall, I believe long term, if you show too much of yourself, or if you give too much of yourself, you will regret it. If you do too much of it, too much of, you know, too much of a good thing can be bad, right? So I do generally agree with that.
yeah. In much as the criticism, again, it's kind of going. We're a little older. We all kind of went through certain things. You see how perception is, and how I think some people do regret past things that they have done, right?
Mhm.
So for me, I think the criticism is fair. I don't think it's going to do a damn thing.
No.
But do you think it's fair? Do you think it, considering like the evolution and diversity of hip hop, the performances, that it is supposed to take some risks? You're supposed to buck the trend.
Mm.
At least for me, the trend is they're not bucking anything. Everyone's shaking their ass. There isn't the rebel, like you said, talking about earlier before about the hip hop. The essence is probably just saying things that people won't say, talking about things, exposing the life that dark underbelly of society that people don't want to talk about. The problem is now everyone's shooting everybody, everyone's taking drugs, everyone's shaking their ass. That's mainstream now. That's not that's not exposing anything. It's pretty much on the nose, right?
And it's really almost not at this point, right? What's really going to shock somebody? Not much.
Yeah, that's
not much, right? So like,
that's good.
While I understand what India already saying, like this stuff's been there's not a video you're going to be able to show me where I'm going to see a woman or a man do something crazy as far as like provocative sexually or whatever, that I'm not going to, we become numb to it, right? It's like seeing women twerk on stage, not a big deal.
Yeah, actually,
right?
Nothing.
It's nothing. And you see women marching and they don't have bras on, the shirts are off, and France, another part. They just this isn't anything that's like new, right?
Right.
So for me, I think it could be her just being like hurt and upset that a fellow black artist is acting this way, right? Yeah. I think there's some of that with India, right? But I'm not surprised. I mean, it sounds like Janae might have been going through some things, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'm doing me. I feel good about myself. I look good. I'm gonna show that to the world." It could be that.
Yeah, because her music there's sexual elements in her music, always been.
Yeah.
Right. But it just seems like it's now she's taking it to the next level, which is weird because again, she does not need to.
Right.
She has an acting career that did pretty well. Like I've seen the last movie that she was in. I've seen it. I thought it was pretty good. I think it was a Glass Onion. It was like a whodunit or whatever. But
yeah, I saw that too. I thought it was
decent. Yeah, so it's like you don't need to show titties. You don't have to do that.
And she was really good in that movie. She played an integral.
She was the main. Yeah, she was the main character. So I think it's fair. Again, do you think these performers even have a negative impact on hip hop at all at this point?
I think they have a negative impact for a select few of people that don't like. I think if you don't like hip hop and don't like the culture, this just adds fuel to your fire in your argument. Look at these. They're just dancing. They're being crazy. I hate hip hop. Blah 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 blah. But I think if you're somebody that is just like enjoys it and understands it and likes the differences and enjoys a good time or a particular kind of song at an event or whatever, I think it's those people are fine. But I think this just adds fuel to the fire of the people that don't like hip hop and don't like the craziness of it and the derogatoriness of it. I think that's I think that it's there because we don't see. You're not going to see a country music artist do this. You're just not. You're not going to see it. They might dress provocatively, but they're not twerking on stage, right?
Right.
Pop artists, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, they kind of do it, but not like that, right?
Right.
So I think it's just for me, I'm for it. I'm not against it. I think if you're an artist, you should be able to like express yourself, right? But like I said, nothing's going to shock me anymore when it comes to music or trends or dancing. Like, what else can you do? You go to these award shows, these women don't have any clothes on.
No.
Okay, nothing.
No.
So the only thing left is to literally go somewhere naked. That's it.
They'll make it something once eventually.
There's even model shows where they literally have pasties and
Yeah.
like a piece of tape covering their vagina. So like the only thing left is just I'll just go naked all the way. That's
What video is
the only
that?
thing we could do? Yeah.
Well, send me the link later.
I don't have it. I thought you'd send it to me.
Is it like, Nova Dasher? Sorry, Nova Hustles. Hit us up with some links to those things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
talk about expressing yourself as an artist, and
Yeah.
so Drake has made a lot of questionable decisions in terms of fashion. It's weird because I noticed when I do see him, I feel like he's trying to bring the baggy clothes thing back.
Yeah, the
which
big
I find
jeans and
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, man, I'm not with you. I thought it was. I think we're done with wearing really baggy clothes.
That's not just hip hop. I think it's coming
It's
style wise across the board. Like the bigger baggy pants and stuff is coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you joining that? Are you coming?
No,
Are you going back with?
I'm
no?
good. I don't like jeans. I don't wear a lot of jeans. I'm good. They're on.
Oh, you just short guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the big giant fucking like the shirt that's like 5 sizes too big. No, you're not gonna come back.
I did that when I was in middle school. I wore like the Dickies and the sag in my pants and a big white T-shirt like Bone Thugs and Harmony. But I'm not 11 and 12 years old anymore, so I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, Drake is trying to, but I'm not gonna talk about that. Let's just. I mean, I'm just saying that Drake is trying to, I guess, separate himself in terms of fashion. So he decides to get a pink, a pink manicure.
That's not his hand. That is not. That's like
that is legit noble Drake.
That looks like a weird. That's a woman's hand, is it not? Or maybe
a woman's holding his hand.
Oh, okay.
But the hand that's being that little pink, that's Drake's hand. 100% Drake.
What's going on, bro?
So talking about expressing yourself and the impact on hip hop in general and all that stuff. So, what Andrew Tate, media personality, he's in house arrest right now in Romania. Has his traditional views on masculinity and says he disapproval of Drake's decision to paint his nails pink. He said that, this was he uses he says an opportunity to reinforce his belief on masculinity and how he does not want to ever meet people like this. That this hurts the masculinity in general, and he should not be doing that, right? Like you should not be, having a feminine color on your nails. So I want to give you what's your opinion on him doing this? Are we being a little bit like should we care about this? Like, is this a big deal?
This is not.
Is it a bit odd that one of the greatest rappers is walking around with pink nails? Like, is he trying to tell us something? Like, what's your thoughts when you saw that? And let's say for sure that is his nails. What goes through your mind?
It's a little odd. Not a big deal for me at all. I think it's just more on par with trends more than anything else. I think you see a lot of, not a lot, but there are other straight and or gay men that paint their nails, whether they're pink or black, or they paint one nail, they do this, they do that.
Right.
Nothing new, but I think it's obviously more trendy and more, hey, I'm just going to do something cool. I'm going to be different. I want to continue to be part of the trends, and I want people to continue to talk about me. I want to, but it's not, to me, it's not a big deal. Andrew Tate's extremely old school in his thought process, right? Very traditional. He's not American, right? And in other parts of the world, there are a lot of men like Andrew Tate. They're not popular, but that's how they feel.
There's nations of people.
Yes, in America, but then more so actually abroad. Right?
Yeah, abroad, definitely.
Based on your faith and your religion or whatever. He is not anything new, right? Yeah. He just has a mouthpiece.
Right.
But it's weird. But you got bands like Kiss, rock and roll group.
Yeah, rock. We allow
rock. We allow it in rock, but we don't allow it in hip hop. So I think that says more about culturally.
I think it's a culture thing. Yeah, it's a culture thing and a style. And they are all on they're on drugs and yelling and screaming and playing loud music. So we're not thinking about but pink nails on Drake, which he already has this perception of being a little zesty. It's like, all right, what's going on? Or at least just tell us. let us know.
Well, he's zesty, but that I'll tell you what, I would say Drake has ran through some women in his life. Would you agree with that? So
yes, I agree with
we
that.
can say zesty, and
hey, you can
does
do
it really
both,
matter?
man. Hey, it's 2023. I guess
to each his own, but he's definitely ran through them. Okay, Drake could have any kind of Instagram model, a different woman every night if he chooses to, and I'm sure he's done that for weeks or months at a time. Yeah. So call them zesty, call it pink nails. I think if it's different if they're black, right, or if they're blue. You know, there was a fighter, Chuck Liddell, UFC fighter, one of the OGs, right, one of the goats of UFC. His daughter would paint his toenails, and he'd go out in his matches, and he'd have painted toenails.
I remember that.
Right, and it was like a thing, but people didn't really give him a hard time.
No, because he would. Right? Yeah, you would not, because he would knock the clear block off you.
right. And in a year or two, if Ruby wants to paint my nails and we're doing some, I'm fine with that. Like, it's my kid, you can paint my nails, and I'm probably not going outside, or I'm not going to just travel around the world with them. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I go to the grocery store, but you could probably get
away with it. I think. Because you already tattooed up.
Because I'm already zesty. I'm zesty.
Yeah, I did not say that.
No, listen, but I have a look. Yeah, I have. Yes,
a rocker. You can pass off like if someone they wouldn't automatically, especially didn't know if you had like your earrings and the gauges. And
it'd be fine. I'd fit in just fine.
Yeah, shave both sides of your head. Actually, you should do that. You should pull that look off. I think.
Listen, bro. I'm not midlife crisis yet.
Not yet. Okay? You're not getting a motorcycle. You're not gonna.
Not doing any of that stuff. Not yet. Not yet.
I'm close to it. Yeah.
Motorcycle.
Well, I'm at least get a motorized scooter, so it's also a safe midlife crisis where I'm not going 100 miles per hour. It's probably most of those scooters probably go like 40. So like halfway.
Talking about like the 49cc bikes, like where you don't even need.
Yeah, like one of those little mopeds, the moped joints. Yeah.
I ain't getting a moped, bro.
No.
I would ride. I've ridden them, but I wouldn't buy one. I'd get a bike if I was going to get a bike, but I might not ever own a bike. So
yeah, but that's just my battle. But I think for Drake, it's a little weird. Like I said, are you so bored? You should start just doing shit. Or you're just doing stuff that, like I said, for attention. He doesn't need attention. He's the most popular. He's one of the most popular people in the world. I think most people know who he is. Absolutely. So but sometimes it's like it don't matter. You still want either get attention or try something different.
Absolutely.
He wants to bring the baggy clothes thing back. Good luck to that. But it's like those type of things always happens no matter how famous and successful you are. So that could be it as well. I just wish he dropped a really good album. That'll be nice.
Just make good music, man.
Yeah, just make good music, man.
What kind of nails you got on? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. I mean,
the last three albums were not very mid
to low.
To his standards, bad.
Yes.
What was the last three? Honestly, Nevermind, which it basically was Oots kind of albums.
Very Oots. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. He did a collab with 21 Savage,
which was very okay. It was okay. And then the last one, I forgot the name of it. But the music is not hitting.
Certified Lover Boy. Right?
Yeah,
that was the one. Yeah.
So, and that's a slide for Drake.
Yeah.
Most don't do 2 albums or 3. Like, he's on a slide. So hopefully he's focusing on some of the music, because I will give it to Drake. He does put more time in the music compared to some other rappers around his.
He does.
Who's been around as long as he has. Usually they have take a step back, go on TV or do some other social media stuff. Drake consistently drops music, so you can tell he loves making it.
You gotta respect that,
right? But it's just been really bad. So hopefully he can kind of rebound from that.
But he's still so popular, and which is fine. But then you got somebody like Nas dropping,
high level,
but it's high level quality. Yeah. Like I listened to one of the albums on the way to driving to Michigan. I'm like, this is still hits. It's KD3. Like, it's still good, right? Yeah, and with Drake, I can't listen to a Drake album. There's no way. I just can't do it. I'm just too old, I guess. I don't know.
And if you don't like his best stuff, which was a couple, the last, maybe the first, probably
first 3.
Yeah, if you don't like Views, you're probably you're not gonna like any of the Drake stuff, because that's probably Hyde. I think Views or nothing, Nothing's the Same, or I think those is probably his best albums. If you don't like that, then you're not going to be into Drake. But But yeah, when you see Nas just performing at a high level, better than most of these guys who've been, the young guys, and then hopefully he's so good that he brings out like Jay-Z to come back, because I know they still have a rivalry.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
That'll be next level.
That would be crazy.
But yeah, Drake needs to get his shit together. Other than that, the NBA, they got the little summer league going on. We got the music stuff. Again, haven't seen anything that's released that's going to be going to change that number one song, number one album.
It might go all year, man. It might be all. We're over halfway, so we only got 5 more months. And if that happens, we talk about celebrating 50 years of hip hop. It's still strong.
They're making money. They're making money. It's just not getting like those kind of accolades that we're used to.
Yeah.
And this happened a while ago, but I hope that it was Killer Mike saying something, but he wasn't supposed to say it. He said 2 weeks ago, he said Andre 3000 album is coming, or he's in there. He has a couple of tracks. Then like a day later, he had to take that back and said he was high. I was stoned. He said, quote, "I was stoned out of my mind." Do you think he was stoned? First of all, if you're stoned, you tell the truth sometimes. I would say most of the time you tell the truth. You don't come out and just say weird stuff.
Your inhibitions are lower.
Exactly.
Yep.
So is it possible that we'll see a Andre 3000 album release this year?
I mean, I hope.
I'm betting there is. I bet, and then Killer Mike just fucked it up by admitting it, because he probably is a feature on the album, probably.
Yeah. I've heard this week actually that Andre 3000 had mentioned, and I don't know how old. What I heard, I don't know how old it is. If it's like last year, this week, whatever. That he was like, he didn't feel inspired. He hasn't been feeling inspired. He didn't feel confident. You know what I mean? He sees what's going on. He just doesn't have that mojo, right?
Yeah.
But hey, to get it back, maybe something happens. He sees something. He becomes passionate about something. He's inspired. I mean, I'm all for it. Andre 3000's on a lot of people's top 3, a lot of people's number 1 of all time. So if he drops something, it's worth a pause. We talked about Outkast earlier. You kind of pause and say, okay, hold up. I'm listening to this right now, right? Yeah. Regardless of what I got going on. He's one of those artists that pushes that needle, right?
Yeah.
Only because there's been such a long time.
And you could tell that maybe he was not inspired. It's amazing that someone that's such a creative genius is like, I just don't want to. Yeah. First of all, he's okay, I guess, financially, but Andre 3000 is one of those rappers. Like you say, he could be on top. You could be on top 3, top 5 lists of some people. I remember arguing with just years ago with a friend, and he, from Atlanta, so he has his biases the same as mine. But he was like, Andre 3000 is better than Nas. I was like, shut the fuck up. You know what you're talking about. No, he's not. And he was like, no, he is. Like, and then you listen to some stuff that Andre 3000 spit.
And it's valid. It can be valid with some.
He can compete.
Yes, he's there. But not overall.
But he's but it's also the beauty of the group of him and Big Boy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they need each other, but that's what makes them one of the best groups of all time. It's a difference between the two and how they work off each other. Because like Andre's an alien and Big Boy is just kind of like chill, you know what I mean? Like I think it works. And Big Boy is an underrated lyricist. People don't really give him respect because of how great Andre 3000 is. But I'm gonna bet. And again, our bets are not good, but we're not talking about basketball. So this actually may actually happen
out in 2023.
I think Andre 3000 come up with an album.
Well, and listen, we talk about Drake and pink nails. Andre 3000's wearing women's clothes on the cover of some of the albums, guys. Okay?
Yeah, he was a little weird. Yeah, so he had a diaper on performance with.
Come on, if he comes out with nails and we're not going to be surprised, and I don't give a fuck, right? Yeah. So like
he did get knocked around for it though. Like I do remember some of this. I don't think he cared. No, he didn't
care. Yeah, that's how
the wigs,
being an alien. He don't care about that.
Yeah, to a point where he's so weird, you're like, all right, because like, all right, Dennis Rodman. We it's like we're used to it.
Yeah,
I'm sure he painted his nails. I'm sure he married himself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't care
because they're showing you from the beginning. Hey, this is who I am. I'm very eclectic.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm different.
Yeah.
I am me. I feel whatever. This is what I do, and you just know it. With somebody like Drake wasn't wearing pink nails coming out the gate, right? So that's why it's odd and it feels different.
I feel like he's doing something. He's doing something manipulative. Like he's just because he's so good at riding waves of what is.
He's being trendy a little bit.
Yeah, so he's like, let me just do this. Instead of like we say Andre 3000 or Dennis Rodman of no, I am different the whole time. I am not doing this for you necessarily.
It's not a show.
It's not really a show. This is who I am. So I think that's probably it. Also, like some people think that Drake is just not as authentic as some other artists. But we'll see. But that's my bet. That's my bet. I'm not gonna bet. I don't know if I'm doing any NBA bets. Just F it. I don't know
You're
what
not
I'm
betting
talking
on any
about.
G League, some league games. You're not gonna.
No, none of that. Make it back in the NFL. It seems like I think we were a little better, at least getting some of the NFL stuff right.
True.
Like we weren't like so bad compared to the NBA. The NBA was just all over the place. So I don't know. Like I still think the Victor kid is going to win the Rookie of the Year, but I guess about betting man, you went through some money.
Should we bait? Should you place a bet that Victor's going to do it? Like $20, and I can place one that Chet's going to do it, and we can see who comes out at the end. You
would definitely make more money because I think Victor is probably an overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, but Chet has to be number 2.
Yeah,
I don't think
if Victor gets hurt, if Victor can get hurt, Chet, that's it, right?
Well, Chet could get hurt too. He just came off injury, so anything can happen.
True.
But yeah, I think Chet would be the number 2, I would imagine, or maybe the Brandon Miller kid from Charlotte.
Right,
he's probably 2 or 3, maybe. Right, so I think it's between those 3 guys. Maybe Scoot Henderson if the Trailblazers trade Dame. The next thing gives Scoot kind of like, okay, now you really got to do a lot. So I think it's probably those 4 guys would be my guess. Would be the top 4 as far as the odds.
Definitely. You know what? I think we'll see. Well, you know what? We'll hold off. I will hold off some of my bets that I want to fail anyway with. But let me give it another weekend to think about it.
We can see what the games look like. What these
they got some games. They're doing replays right now on NBA TV. I think they have some new games tomorrow. So hopefully we get some highlights of those. So we'll talk about it and see if even Victor's playing. I'm sure. On that note, the hour flew by. Jeez. All right. I was going to talk about affirmative action. I guess we'll talk about that later.
Monday.
Put Pedro on the spot. What do you think about affirmative action?
I did hear that it got struck down. Right?
Yeah, we got some thoughts on it. Yeah. But maybe
we should get into that. Maybe I think that's a good topic.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some zesty or some spicy comments about it as well. So. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for coming through. All you guys for coming through, checking us out. As always, be safe out there, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.